1260 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. And that's exactly what we're going to do this morning is have some real talk as the pending swearing in of Donald Trump is hovering above us. We got to talk about when I say there's going to be a seismic shift in this nation in the way we do business, and I just have to be honest, I don't feel like it is for the better, particularly when it comes to communities of color, Black people in particular. But we're going to take time and talk about some of those things this morning. First of all, let me have some good manners, some home training, say what's up to my people in the studio. Mr. Ride Out, how you doing today, sir?
Well, guess who's back?
Who's back?
What you doing?
I was surprised when I pulled up, saw the whip outside. Yeah. I was like, what Jay doing up here?
Well, I decided. I just decided. Just decided.
Say more. Say more.
I
decided what?
To get on up and come party early.
Really?
Yeah. Come party early.
Dude said, I decided.
Yeah, I
woke up.
Maybe I should say I was voluntold.
Now that I can understand.
That might
be. that makes a little more sense to me. Because that tends to happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't really my idea, but I'm gonna just go ahead and ride with it.
I guess I take the credit.
No, but act like I got a choice.
Yeah.
Well, good to see you, bro. Look like you got that hair freshly twisted, freshly minted.
Somebody told me I was looking bald on top, so I had to get it.
I'm telling you, we got to figure out these lighting angles in the studio because I'll be looking so crazy. Oh my god! Like you just woo.
Say, man, I'm getting my ball.
People see me in person, be like, "Dang,
right?
You look way different from on YouTube." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I seen them shots. Not the most flattering." What up, Carvey P? How you doing this morning, bruh?
I'm feeling real good today.
You feeling real good?
I'm feeling great.
It's good to hear. Is there a reason for the feel good, or you just
sometimes you just gotta feel good to make everybody else feel good?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I can go with that then. That sounds plausible. You will it into existence. Be what you want to see. I got all of that. I appreciate it all. Well, I tell y'all, interesting conversations for this morning. But let me just start here. I don't know how many people had an opportunity to see Vice President Kamala Harris on yesterday. We had the certification of the election yesterday. This was the occasion 4 years ago when Donald Trump urged his supporters to go to the Capitol and act a fool. Many of them were happy to acquiesce and went and did everything from defecate in the hallways to scale the buildings like gorillas, to tear up and damage historic property. Numbers that we've heard. Hey, Alex, good morning. Hey, Shelby, what's happening? We've heard that these numbers, thanks to Deborah, who said, Michelle, like, do we have a number on the estimated damage? And, 2021, there was like, 30 million, but it's going to keep rising. When I saw the most recent data, $2.3 billion, like absolutely ridiculous amount of money that because they looked at the totality of it all, the police force and their expenses for DC, for the Capitol, like all of the ancillary stuff, not just the immediate physical damage, but all of the things that went into dealing with that whole thing. And so so that was the tone, the backdrop that we go into yesterday, in which the election results have to be certified. And I gotta have this moment when when you just realize how number one, let me tip my hat to Kamala Harris. I mean, I expected nothing less than for this woman to show up, do her job as vice president in her role of the certification process, to be, upbeat and cordial and respectful. I expected nothing less. Absolutely nothing less. This is about home training. This is about uh, you know, uh, grit, true leadership. Even Mike Pence had to give a nod to Kamala Harris and talked about that it was particularly admirable that she presided over the election certification, even though, she had lost that race, but she still had a job to do. The ability to call and concede a race, to call and congratulate your opponent, the kinds of things that so many people lack the class, the leadership skills to be able to do. People, and then they don't understand. They don't see themselves as like, fam, you trifling. You lack leadership skills. You have no ability to be gracious. So I wasn't surprised when Kamala Harris showed up to do what she was supposed to do. What continues to surprise me is how, people just co-sign for and in some ways disregard the disrespect that's shown to women legislators, women elected officials, to African American elected officials, legislators, to people that are of a different political ideology. And what am I referring to? A number of folks saw it yesterday. A number of people were outraged by it yesterday. As Kamala Harris was swearing in new members of the Senate, um, somebody just said too, and then like, did you see the senator's husband didn't shake the VP's hand? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So Senator Deb Fischer, who is a Republican out of Nebraska, was being sworn in for her third term in the U.S. Senate um, by Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, remember, a term for the Senate is 6 years. Okay. So this is her third term. So she has 12 years under her belt. When she's done with this term, she will have done 18 years. Remember that. Okay. And so she is there. She is smiling. She is, I'm sure happy to have been reelected to her post and getting sworn in. And you coming into a situation where Republicans are running the board. You got the House of Representatives, you got the Senate, you got the White House. You're gonna have DOJ. You're gonna have all of it. And so she was in a particularly good mood. It appeared jovial mood, congenial kind of behavior towards the vice president of the United States. But her husband, Bruce Fisher, who was there alongside her, he decided he was going to make the show about him. He was going to make the swearing in about him. He was going to be a jackass in front of everybody. So after the senator, takes her oath, the vice president extends her hand to Senator Fisher and shakes her hand. There's smiles, you know, everybody's cordial. The vice president, who is standing right next to her husband, I mean, the proximity is stupid, close, extends her hand to Bruce Fisher, the husband of the returning senator, and he disses Kamala Harris. He leaves her hand visibly hanging, and he's much taller than the vice president, so she has to extend her hand upward higher. It's not low like you would think of a handshake because the guy is much taller than her. So her hand is up. It's like chest level. So it's clearly visible. He looks away, mumbles like something like thank you, puts his hand in his pocket. And Kamala Harris had a whole black woman moment. I ain't even gonna say a woman moment because I don't know if all women would have did it, but she damn sure had a black woman moment when she said she looked at him like, "Oh, okay," like literally look at her body language, read her lips. She looked at him like, "No, you didn't." And his wife, the senator, clearly uncomfortable with what her husband was doing. This man was on a cane, leaning on that cane, during the swearing in, had the Bible in one hand, so like it's not like you in fighting condition whatsoever. Somebody could have just knocked your behind over like with a push while you trying to stand up here and be rude and disrespectful to the second highest office holder of the nation. See, that's the thing that drives me crazy because I can dislike your politics all day long, all day long. But if I am around you in your official capacity, I am going to respect that position and give you what's afforded. I can dislike your policies all day long. If I am around you in your official capacity, my feelings about you mean nothing. I am going to give you what you are due by way of respect. And pretty much as a human being, if you extend your hand to me, even though I don't care for you, I will still shake your hand. Now, I might even say, now I don't mess with you, right? But we in this moment. Or depending on if you've done something that's so egregious and out of pocket, but you would have had to done something just straight crazy. Like me and you done fought before, you done hurt my child. But just this back and forth political banter, and I don't like your policy. I don't like that you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. I don't like that you like abortion, you don't. Like that stuff right there, that's nothing that will cause me to disrespect you just on a basic human level. Those things won't allow me to disrespect you. Now, I can argue vehemently. I can push back. I can question, your good sense. I can do all of that. But I'm not going to disrespect you. So the senator, she's trying to get her husband to like act like you got some damn home training. They got to take the picture. He won't nudge over or move over so they can be like, it looks like they all in the picture together. And Kamala Harris is not just standing, the vice president is not just standing out on an island, to the right of them by herself. This dude was a total and complete jerk. I wish I was on Sirius XM so I could use much stronger language. He was a total and complete jerk. Why you come? You came so you could make this spectacle. You came so that you could be publicly disrespectful to this woman, to the vice president of the United States. Why did you come if you detested her so bad that you didn't want to speak to her? You didn't want to touch her. Why did you come? You didn't have to be there. I don't know if the couple got children, a family member, a sister, a best friend, a secret lover. Somebody could have stood in for him. Why did you come? Because he had to know that this would make news. He had to know that people would question what just happened. So as she goes on and puts on her post Together, we will continue to stand tall for our shared values and take care of our people. We will protect this nation. We will build a stronger Nebraska, and we will secure the brighter future of our children and our grandchildren. What part about the future of our children and our grandchildren does not contain teaching them how to act? You bring this disrespectful individual with you to this event. Speak to that before you start trying to give us a rally speech about we're going to have shared values and take care of this country and our people. So evidently, the people that are not politically aligned with you, the people that did not vote for you, the people that got a different letter behind their name, those people may not be included in the who we taking care of. When I tell you, if I was married to this man, he would have got clowned immediately. 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 You do not come to my workplace and show your behind. So it was ultimate disrespect for his wife, too. Your wife is a sitting U.S. senator being sworn in again. And you come and you do something so publicly disrespectful. You didn't have no respect for your wife either. I'm not going to my husband's job or my partner's job and show my behind in a way that calls attention to me being intentionally negative and rude. I'm not going to do it. So you disrespected both women. You disrespected the vice president of the United States and you disrespected a United States senator. You disrespected both women. And it is that type of misogyny and that type of, just sexism. And, I'm going to bring Kamala's race into it as well. That when people try to figure out what happened in the 2024 election, it wasn't just about inflation and the price of gas. Because you know what? I don't hear all of that right now. Where's that conversation at? Gas the same price right now as it was during the election. Where's that conversation? Eggs is the same price right now as it was during the election. Even the major media outlets are not beating the drum about, inflation, the price, bread and butter issues. All of that was a crock. The disdain and disrespect that this man showed, I swear to God, especially when I'm on my way out the door, I would have looked at him and be like, well, why you come? Like, seriously, why did you come? So, because, and this how, she didn't do the full black woman. Because you want to put on a show, let's put on a show. You want to have a moment, let's have a moment. I applaud Vice President Harris because it had to be a difficult day all around because some of the Republicans were being childish. They were smirking. They were, almost taunting the fact that she had to sit and certify election results of a race that she lost. And that's why I just don't understand the jumping on the bandwagon of some of the rudest people on the face of God's earth. Some of the classless, and just tackiest people on the face of God's earth. And I'm not talking about Republicans around the country and around the world. I'm talking about the ones that serve in Congress. These people take ignorance to a whole different level. And let me put the official disclaimer out there. Not all, but way too many. Way too many. You got child molesters running through the building, insurrectionists running through the building. Like, where do y'all find these people? And then folks who will sit on their behind and do everything they can to defend it. So I got to take a break. But yes, everybody, I saw it. I went back and I reviewed it probably 6 or 7 times because I really was watching Kamala's face after I saw him, and the fact that he would not look at her throughout the ceremony. You came with the intention of making a spectacle. He better be glad it was Kamala, because I would have gave him one. That's why they won't let me come. That's why they won't let me be the vice president. That's why they won't let me. Because they can see it like it's written all over your face. They won't let me. Because they was like, she ain't gonna act right. She ain't gonna act right. Leave that Negro on 20th and Capitol. She is not gonna act right. I gotta go to break. I'll be right back.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New
KNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. Taking a second to talk about, what was on display yesterday in terms of the snub of Vice President Kamala Harris by a U.S. senator's husband who, just out of pocket and disrespectful. And you watch it and you just like, you know what? So much of this is not about policy and this bad behavior. Everything from going back to when the congressman stood up and called Barack Obama a lie. Um, in a setting in which this is televised, that the world, the country, the nation, the world is watching this speech being delivered by President Obama, and you stand up and call the president of the United States a lie. And I wondered before I move on from this topic, had the vice president been a man and the man had extended his hand to the U.S. senator's husband, even though they were on different political sides of the aisle, because I'm sure that there's nothing personal that Kamala Harris has ever done to this senator's husband. I'm sure that there's nothing that she has ever personally done to the husband, Bruce Fisher. So I wondered, had that been a man, saying everything else being equal, but just the gender of the vice president changes, does Bruce Fisher not shake that man's hand? I just couldn't help but wonder. And Kamala Harris had this moment when she smiled, when he wouldn't look at her. And she said, "It's okay. I won't bite. I'm not going to bite. Don't worry." So she had that moment when she was like, "Yeah, oh, I see you." Somebody said, "Remember when the white lady pointed her finger in Barack's face?" Exactly. Like the level, but y'all be the first one whining and clining about your love of country and respect for the Constitution and respect for the letter of law, but you don't respect none of that if the people occupying those positions are Black, people of color, or women. You don't respect none of that. Feel free to just say and do whatever you want to. Just whatever you want to. So yeah, we had to have a moment to talk about that. The other thing though that I want to bring up is I was talking yesterday with Rep Myers, and she came and she said, "Have you seen this latest post by Michael Baisden?" And I was like, "Baisden still out here doing his thing?" Michael Baisden, we used to actually have his show here in Milwaukee on syndication. A talk radio host, very well known, and ultimately ends up, you know, the show, it goes through a bunch of drama. And so the show leaves for a while, and then he comes back in another iteration of what he's doing. Michael Baisden had to go out and post yesterday that there was a post of him showing his face, showing him talking and saying some stuff. And Michael Baisden had to go out and say, "That is not me. I did not make that post. That is not, me talking. That is not me." And that people were interacting with the post and someone was responding to the post as if they were, in fact, Michael Baisden. And, I told Rep Myers, I said, but when you really looked at the the image, the top part of his face looked darker than from the nose down. So, and from the nose down looked wider than the top part of his face. So the whole thing seemed off to me. But if you just first glance and you're not going hard and you just look, you think it's Baisden. and you think that whatever it was he said, he said. So it got me to paying attention to different things that are going on around us. And number one, the threat that artificial intelligence, while a good tool, we know that any tool can be used for bad if in the hands of the wrong people. And so watching what people were able to do with Baisden, so I'm like, I'm suspect. I mean, I'm subject to the same types of, malfeasance, the same types of BS, the same types of shenanigans that could happen to me. And God knows I say enough crazy on my own. I don't need no help. I'm sorry, sir. Are you laughing?
I agree. I concur.
Look here, streetcar.
Boy, you telling the truth.
I'm just saying.
You preaching.
It's too much that could go wrong. So now you throw into the mix the recent announcement by Meta, which we all refer to as Facebook. And Meta has announced that it is ending its fact checking program for their online social media sites, Facebook. And the way stuff will be fact checked will be similar to what they do at fake Twitter, Elon Musk mess, X, which is Michelle puts up a post and Ride Out and Carvey, Debo, Keith them all read the post. And they was like, no, that's not true. Or, that's missing critical information. And so they begin to post stuff in response to what I said. They have what they call a notes section. And people will look at it and then have to come to a consensus that Carvey, Keith, Ride Out, they right, I'm wrong. So my post will remain, but this addendum to my post is put there. So they are now relying on the public to do the fact checking. Go ahead.
So that means that it's a great possibility that something can be true, but because the public don't agree with it, they can put their own opinion to it, which then would make what really is the truth looks like it's false.
Oh my God. You took it in a completely different direction, because the general premise is something is being said that's false, and the public swarms in to say that's not true and you need to correct that. You offer the flip, the scarier side, or even scarier, that no, somebody's saying something that's factual, that's true, but enough conspiracy theorists, haters,
Exactly.
people on nonsense, get together and decide we're going to drown this dude out. And we all know squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people aren't going to chime in. They just going to let it play out.
They're going to let it play out because they're going to see so many other people chiming in and not agreeing with the truth. They're going to take their word for being factual instead of what the original post was.
The idea that companies who have platforms in which your reputation can be destroyed in a matter of minutes. One post, so and so is a pedophile. And some AI generated content, some AI generated photos. This mess is sent around the world, and you don't have the ability to catch it quick enough to be able to even combat it.
You would never be able to catch it quick enough, because as soon as they push that send button, it goes out and it's on a platform that millions can see. And before you even get wind of it, because you're not, for the average people that's not always on social media, that might be working during the day and things like that. If something is said about you at work and you see it 3-4 hours later,
right,
like a couple thousand people have already seen it and shared it.
And God forbid it's a viral post.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking tens of thousands,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So you got to ask the question, well, why the shift? We already know why Elon Musk wanted to do it, because Elon Musk is ignorant. He believes in helping to spread and perpetuate ignorance. That's why he bought the Twitter format, so he'd have his whole playground just to spread and help misinformation make its way around the world. That's literally why he bought it, because they came into this knowing they were going to be helping Donald Trump to secure the 2024 election. So why does Facebook do that? Why does Zuckerberg and his crew do that? Well, if you're paying attention, one of the things that people notice right away is that the announcement was made on Fox News. So here you have a fairly progressive, liberal-leaning cat in Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook leadership, somewhat, going to Fox News to make this announcement that we are pulling off the safety net and people gonna be able to just get out here willy-nilly and ball out and say whatever they want to, except for, around issues like, human trafficking, child pornography. We're gonna keep an eye on that stuff. But everything else, basically, y'all on your own, and the community will police that. So you go to Fox News to make the announcement. Why Fox News? Oh, wait. And then the policy person for Facebook, their legislative liaison, is a Republican. So you choose where you go make this announcement, as opposed to just sending out a press release. And then whoever calls you first for an interview, that's where you show up. They also called Donald Trump to give him a heads up that they have relaxed this policy. Okay? That they have changed their policy, because they are, what did Donald Trump say? Now they all like me. Now they all like me. Now they all like me. Everybody that ran down to Mar-a-Lago, ring behind, whatever you want to kiss is there for you. Now they all like me. So Zuckerberg and crew have changed the policy because the administration changed. And they are worried, in regulatory terms, about what could happen to them under a Trump administration. So you have companies that are now preemptively getting in line, just like under the whole guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion changes. We're going to just say inclusivity or some nonsense like that. You now have a Facebook saying, yeah, it's the Wild Wild West on Facebook. Y'all say whatever y'all want to. We ain't going to check it. Our third-party fact checkers that we had contracts with to monitor this stuff, those contracts are canceled. Y'all police it. This is what Elon Musk is doing. It looks like it's working over there. So we're going to do it. And the crazy thing is, because these platforms reach so many people, you got other alternative platforms like Blue Sky and, places where people are trying to go so they don't have to use fake Twitter. But people can't get past that. No, my ability to reach millions of people still exists on those platforms. So they won't walk away from them. They won't leave them. So these platforms are given this enormous amount of power, where if we wanted to check it in as a people in a country, we could. The regulators or regulatory agencies, Elon Musk, the Trumps, cohorts, none of that would matter if the American people decided, oh, we're going to check that in. Because if you go to other countries, they are limited about what they can do, what they can say. Oh, you want to play in China? These is the rules for playing in China. So what they have understood, what Mark Zuckerberg and folks in this arena have understood is we have an incoming administration that does not want the truth out there. We have Republicans who don't want the truth out there. Disclaimer, not all, but way too many. We want to be able to sell people BS narratives. We want to be able to scare people. We want to be able to put wedge issues out there, race, LGBT, abortion, transgender, the things that we know keep people in an uproar. We don't want anybody fact checking what we have out there. Remember what we found out in the Hillary Clinton election when she first ran against Trump, that there were Russian bots that were putting out misinformation. They were targeting Black communities in particular to, impact the way we voted or whether we showed up at all. All of that was being done. And people said, we got to have some control and some fact checking so we know what's happening to Americans that's being targeted. Zuckerberg and crew have figured out that the incoming president is trifling and scandalous, and they want to be able to lie with no filter. You leaned in, sir. Did you?
Yeah, I'm blown away because I see exactly where this is going. Um, it's more like, okay, we have elections coming up again in 4 more years. So for them launching it now to the 4 year mark, coming up for the next election, that's enough time to create chaos. It's enough time.
It reminds me of redistricting in that you have, like in Wisconsin and around the country in a lot of cases, you have Republicans who had control of the state legislature stacking the deck to ensure that they stayed in control. Right now, you have the wealthiest people in this country that are stacking the deck to make sure that in 4 years, to your point, when it's time to come back and vote again, that they will have already stacked the deck. Mm-hmm. They will have already poisoned the well. Mm-hmm. You won't be able to get your message out. Mm-hmm. And so Zuckerberg, CEOs, business leaders across all different kinds of sectors, all different kinds of businesses, all different kinds of areas have been just coming, to try to curry favor with Donald Trump. Here go $1 million to your inauguration fund. Here go $1 million over here. Here go a donation over here. Again, getting ahead of the game. Facebook, Meta, appoints Joel Kaplan, who is this big time Republican, to lead their policy team. A longtime Trump supporter, Dana White, is going to now be on his board. So they putting Republicans on the board that are cool with Trump to try to protect their company.
Is that Dana White from the UFC?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Did you want to tell people what the UFC is?
It's the kickboxing.
There you go. There you go. Why is Dana White making her way onto y'all board?
Well, that's actually a dude.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
thank
Dana
you.
White
Thank you.
is a dude. But what's crazy is that's a real successful company. And if you have money, power, and respect, you rule the world. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. Because he has the power, he's gaining the respect, and he has the money. And with those three components working together, that gives you the ultimate take over control. And now you can take over everything. Though you
And
rule the world.
I had to go back and pull it up because it's the ultimate fighting. What is it called? The ultimate fighting championship. Yeah, UFC. And my bad on saying her. Because literally I can't say Dana and not think of Dana World Patterson. So I apologize. I apologize. But yes, this is Donald Trump's boy. This is one of Donald Trump's boys. He has now been put on the board of directors of Facebook. Y'all, do you understand? So, in the wishful thinking of, let me just get through these 4 years. These people are getting ready to change the game for a long time to come. Elon Musk is young. His money is long. He is going nowhere anytime soon, minus a medical situation. So the ability to primary, to threaten, to scare, like these companies and people have all shown when their backs have been put up against the wall, exactly what it is they will do. They will fold. But in this case, they are trying to get out in front of it to the extent that they can since the election in November, and just saying, "Oh no, you don't have to come for us. We'll change. We'll get rid of everyone. We'll get rid of everyone." And somebody just hit me up and said it. And yes, I was working that into the conversation because I think Rideout said it as soon as I walked into the door. And let me just pull up the story. All right. So when you say McDonald's, what's all the little different names we use for McDonald's?
Mickey D's.
Mickey D's.
McDonald's.
They actually included Mickey D's in one of their commercial campaigns.
Really?
Yeah. It had become such a thing, so popular that they included the phrase Mickey D's in one of their commercials. You think about their commercials, diverse commercials. They appeal to everybody. McDonald's is international. You can go anywhere in the world and see the golden arches. Go ahead.
So remember back in the day when they had Calvin has found a job.
Yes.
And it was nothing but black people they had on the commercials with, oh, Calvin,
and everybody was proud of Calvin.
Oh, Calvin finally got
the
a job.
The neighborhood was proud of Calvin. So Mickey D's has announced McDonald's is the latest company to announce that it is undoing a lot of its diversity initiatives. The fast food giant, and I'm taking this from an article, the fast food giant said it's changing its approach to inclusion at the company, according to a memo to restaurant owners and operators as well as employees worldwide, which was posted on their corporate website on yesterday. Specifically, the company will no longer set, quote, aspirational representation goals or targets for achieving diverse representation in senior roles. So they are saying, we will look around and see an all lily white board, an all lily white management team, and not say that this management team does not reflect the community that we serve, our customers that buy our food and our products, that we need to make this look more like the people that come through the doors. McDonald's is saying we're no longer going to do that.
You know what I just got from what you just read? Modern day slavery. The whites is the masters, we the slaves. And I'm going to tell you where I get that from. When you have a board that, in the company's executive positions are all white. So they're not looking to put blacks or Mexicans or anybody of any other color but white in that position. But it's okay if you want to work below us. I mean, it will give you the jobs that's $5, $7, $8, $9 an hour. But if you're looking for something that's bigger than that, we are no longer going to be in position.
And just what's implied, that you are not skilled, talented,
Exactly.
educated enough to have these roles. Nobody questions a white man sitting in any of these roles.
My point. So don't that sound
Nobody.
like modern day slavery?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to push back. I'm not going to do a whole
Alright.
bunch of pushback on it because no one questions a white man sitting in these roles. But if a
Exactly.
black person is sitting in there, and now you got white people feeling comfortable coming into the boardroom, coming into the company and the
Yeah.
organization to literally sit back and say, oh, you're a DEI hire.
And it's almost to the point that the white person can start where you start on the bottom, but you will stay on the bottom, and the white will continue to move up the company's ladder.
Somebody just said, what happened to McDonald's Black 365? So that campaign, I'm sure, will be, and I don't even know if they still even use Black 365, but it was one that we all knew, we all understood, we all appreciated. We not just paying attention to our Black customer base, during Black History Month. We understand y'all are a large share of our market, and we got programming year round that values that customer base. So McDonald's is also ditching a program it created to encourage its suppliers to make their own diversity, equity, and inclusion pledges and invest in diversity training for their employees. Instead, the company says it will have conversations with suppliers about inclusion as it relates to business performance. Another change. McDonald's will refer to its diversity team as the Global Inclusion Team. Republicans have made the word diversity a dirty word. You might as well call it rape or child pornography or, I don't know, terrorist. I am literally trying not to pull my freaking eyeballs out as I watch how methodically and relatively easily Republicans have been able to, and just a handful of people with an agenda have been able to turn a word like diversity into the devil, into a bad thing. It's like how they tried to co-opt the word woke and make it a horrible thing. So now you got companies saying, we're going to have a global inclusion team. But many companies have diversity within those organizations. I'm talking about diversity of product lines, diversity of activities, the diversity of portfolios. In any other reality, diversity is good unless in this case it benefits or helps people of color or marginalized communities. McDonald's will refer to its diversity team as the Global Inclusion Team because somehow or another, white folks didn't think they was included in the phrase diversity team. So we need a whole new word for white people to feel comfortable. It's the Global Inclusion Team. And like dominoes, all these companies are falling. It says, their statement says, this name change is more fitting for McDonald's in light of our inclusion value and better aligns with this team's work. Additionally, McDonald's will pause external surveys. So, these are climate surveys, fairness surveys, what's going on in the corporation, the organization. So now we have Ford Motor Company, we have Lowe's, we have John Deere, we have Walmart, Target. In a minute, there ain't gonna be, I said I wasn't going to Walmart, there ain't gonna be nowhere to shop. There ain't gonna be nowhere to shop. Ford Motor Company and other employers have declined to participate in the Human Rights Campaign surveys that gauges the company's inclusivity for the LGBTQ plus workers. In 2024, more than 30% of the company's leaders were from underrepresented groups, McDonald's said in a memo. The company also achieved gender pay equity company-wide. On the supplier front, the company last year met its goal of spending 25% on diverse owned suppliers. But McDonald's is able to put those numbers out and tout that because they had been deliberate and intentional in the work to bring those numbers up. They had been intentional. So that's like us driving through the city of Milwaukee, and all we see is white contractors doing construction jobs and work in the city. And you like, how do none of these companies reflect the people that live in the area who they making their money off of? And people started to say, we want to see more diverse contractors at the table. The whole system has been designed to benefit white men in particular. And it feels like Reconstruction, like that 12 years of the period after slavery, in which black people were getting elected to Congress and elected to state houses and, making seismic changes in the way the world engaged black people, viewed us. People understood, you're not smarter than us, you're not colder than us, you're not brighter than us. We at the table. And then white men couldn't take it no more. And after 12 years of this, letting black folks get elected to office, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. It's enough of that. Damn it, that's enough of that. And ran these black folks out of office. Some literally at gunpoint ran them out of office, duly elected officials, because they didn't want to see black folks in the state houses. They didn't want to see black folks representing the country. So you do 100 and some years of dirt in terms of slavery. But you can only take 12 years of the work that's being done to address and correct slavery. That's what it feels like to me, is that we're going through our own, now we're getting ready to institute black codes coming off of Reconstruction. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I see you having a good time on this discussion.
No, I'm really not. But go ahead.
Well.
No, anytime I got to talk about the continued erosion of rights and opportunities for black people, that's never a good time for me. But go ahead.
I agree wholeheartedly. But listen, one thing I'd like to say about the contracting issue, I'd like to address that for 1 second. The thing is that keeps black people out of these positions, and we get on here, we argue, we fight, is that we won't invest, black folk, and I'm saying I want to talk about us. We find it hard to invest our money in tools and understand that, see, we've been tossed into a cop and sale mode for the last maybe 40 years at least. Cop and sale. We don't want to wait for the money. You understand that? And what happens is we don't purchase the tools. This is why other groups come into our community. Yeah, they come into our community and they are working in our community and they don't look like black folk. They're not black folk. And guess what they do? They come in and they occupy. And we won't buy the tools. Now, you talked about the dirty word that the Republicans have turned into. If you read the rules, the House rules, you will understand how a lot of these groups have gotten the power and the momentum that they have today. See, the LGBTQ just didn't wake up one morning and become this strong lobbyist in Washington to turn the country into believing and accepting their lifestyle. If you look at if you look at the rules, if you can get the rules. I never paid no attention to it, Michelle, to be honest with you. But I was wondering, how's all these groups getting all of this momentum to go forward and look like they just steamrolling black folk? But now lately here, I got myself involved in the rules and looking. And if you look at it, you'll see California politics written in the rules, which affects this whole round world. I mean, well, I like to just say America, anyways. And and this is how they've gotten the power and the momentum, and that it made us frightened and afraid. Not just only the LGBTQ, you got other groups in there that's working this magic. Okay, and when you look at the rules, and it talks about the not addressing mothers or fathers, boys or girls, you'll understand why now I'll tell you something. The Democrats didn't lose this race on no abortion. They pushed too hard and too fast on this other movement, this sexual perversion movement, and it cost them a race. That's what it really was. It wasn't the abortion race. The abortion piece didn't cost them the race. It was other things that cost them that race. And guess what? We have got, and I hate to be coming on here saying, well, you usually never hear me say, I try to avoid that word we, because I hear people coming, I always got a solution for their own people, and they ain't doing nothing themselves. What we've got to do is we got to start investing our money in tools. Leave McDonald's alone, because if we were serious enough, we'd go franchising ourselves, which I don't even know if they'll sell us one. We tried to buy Cousins here, and we wanted in the inner city. You know how hard it was for them to even consider us, and then we still didn't get considered. We wanted a Cousin restaurant.
I mean, but we got McDonald's. We got black owners of McDonald's franchises. In fact,
yes, we do.
At one time, the president of the Owners Association, I don't know if he still is Robert Piles. He was the president of the McDonald's Franchise Owners Association.
So why are you arguing about it? About McDonald's having an all-white board?
Wait. So first of all, let's keep your points clean, because at first you said they won't let us have the franchises. I point out that we have.
No.
You said we tried to get a Subway or whatever. They wouldn't let us have it.
No, it's not whatever. That's not what I said. What I said is that we need to buy into the franchise if they will even sell us a franchise.
And I said, and I just offered up information that Robert Piles is one of those people who has franchises. So I just offered up, Valerie Carter had, all of the Burger Kings damn near in the state, and Pizza Huts. So so it's not that we can't always get in, because we have been able to get in. But that does not speak to the overall corporate culture of the company. Those are franchise owners. That's not the corporate leadership.
But guess what? It's theirs, though.
Say what?
It's theirs. If we choose to,
look,
set up
the thing that I think that you are sometimes willing to overlook is that, number one, when it comes to, let's just use construction. Trades and areas that we traditionally have been kept out of, okay? Had to have somebody white vouch for you to be able to even get you into the classes at MATC, to be able to even go to school. So, and this is well into the 60s and 70s that we have been kept out of. So this is just 2025. So we're talking not even 50, 60 years ago, we're kept out of these professions. So the other thing, loan discrimination. These white boys don't just wake up with enough money to buy tools and equipment overnight. Many of them are able to go get a loan to help them buy tools and equipment. We go, wait a minute. We go and apply and get denied. Same criteria, same credit worthiness. In some cases, we're more credit worthy and get denied. We don't have friends batting for us, help them out. And then the people making the decisions about the contracts. This is one of the conversations we've had with the city and even about the county, as they are deciding, and the state, as you were deciding who contracts go to. Way too often they was going to people's friends.
Hold on, let me show you how it's a loophole for that, Michelle.
Go ahead.
This is how they get those contracts. Hold on. In the majority of those contracts are handed out to women minorities, and now they're giving them to the Mexicans. The Mexicans is lined up with dump trucks. Okay, they lined up with them. Just go down the south side. They even selling dump trucks.
But let's be clear. Many of the
white folk try to play like they.
Many of the female-owned companies are actually shell companies for white men.
Correct.
They got their mama's name, their sister, their wife's name.
That's
So
good game.
d-
What
be,
we mad at that for?
because
Because we
that's
can put the
not.
same black girl. Hold on. Let me tell you something. We can put the same black girl in there that really qualified because she's not only black, she's a minority. Listen, I have
And
a
she
friend.
won't get the contract.
Let
And
me
she
share this
won't
with
get the
you.
contract because the
No,
other
that's
thing
not
that's
the truth.
behind the
Let me share this
scenes
with you.
that we
My
don't
friend,
appreciate
I'm
is the
finna give you an
people
example.
making the decisions frequently are still employing a good old boy system. These is my people. I've been doing business with them for years. We know these folks. So there are other things at play other than trying to shift blame to black folks. Y'all don't
All you have to
invest and
do is
buy the
ask Mouth of
tools.
Love to come in if she will, if she ain't too mean and honorary to come in and talk really honestly about the construction contracts that goes on and how they're pitched. See, let me explain
I've
this
been
to
in
you.
those pitch meetings. I have done the public engagement piece for construction companies alongside Martha Love and independent of Martha Love. There have been
Okay,
construction companies that have, brought me to the table to say we want to pitch X, Y, and Z. And the reality was because there were diversity requirements in place in some of these cities and municipalities, they needed a black face to come to the table, to come
all
to the
the
table
time,
with them.
all the time. But see, this is the thing right here. We fail to realize that we need to come to the table with the proper tools. See,
Again,
you saying
this
we
is
not getting
not
credit?
just
Listen
about
here, if a
us not.
man can go down there to the
How
store
do people get the proper tools, Meech?
and they don't got credit,
How do they get the proper tools,
and they don't got
Meech?
credit, is that what you're saying?
I'm
And they
asking.
won't
No,
get credit?
it was a simple question. How do people get the proper tools? How they get them?
You buy them
How do they pay for them?
with money,
Where they get the money from?
your bank or a job that you recently acquired.
Okay, so
Now
what
we'll
does
go to the bank.
what do
I
those
want to go
bank
to the
loans?
bank because that's what
What
we're
does the
leading
bank
to.
loan approval rate look like for black folks?
It looks horrible. It looks horrible.
Okay.
It looks horrible.
So
But listen,
and what
that
kind of
same person. Hold on, let me
financial
show you something.
outlay
Let me
are
show
we
you.
talking for this equipment? How much money do you think I need to invest to be able to not just be a sub but a prime on these contracts?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of time you have to come in as a sub, but I'm gonna give you this. Let me give you this right quick. Listen, if you can go to the store and get you a $40,000-$50,000 vehicle, okay? If you can rent you a house for $1,800 a month, okay, you have the credit. Now, what you're doing
No,
is when you get
no. Let me be clear. It's easier to get a $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle with a 600, a 575 credit score
guess
than
what?
it is to go get a
Hold on.
loan for business equipment from a bank that's going to be talking about what your credit worthiness
Sometimes you
is
don't have
for
to go.
that.
Listen to this
These
here.
people don't care
Sometimes
about
you don't
giving
have to go
credit
to a bank.
to
Hold on,
somebody.
listen.
These people don't care about giving a car
I'm finna
to
help you.
somebody
I'm
with
finna help
bad
you with
credit.
this.
They don't
Let me
care
help you
about
with this.
that.
So, hold on, listen. Listen to this here. A lot of times, Michelle, you don't purchase the equipment, you lease the equipment. Let me explain something to you. Most of these construction jobs that's out here with them big excavators and stuff out there, them white folks don't own the machines. They are leasing those machines. All the way down to your simple grass cutting lawn service. You understand me? A lot of this stuff, it looks big in our face. Man, I can't afford that doggone tractor. That tractor costs $350,000. Guess what? In most of the cases, they're not selling those tractors. Those tractors are being leased, okay, and rented in some cases. So we have to be able to understand that this is how the game go. They not driving no $350,000 tractor, then a $250,000 truck, and then a $150,000 trailer to pull this. No, in a lot of cases, the mess is rented or leased. And that's where we missing the ball because we want to own our stuff because we don't want to have to pay out anybody. We want it to be ours. Okay, we've got this hour thing. Why you think we can't even hardly have a corner store? Because we don't want people to put their stuff in our stores because we don't want to do the consignment thing. We rather go to Sam's just like the old Arab do now. Go buy the junk, put in our store, and we cut the middleman out. We believe in cutting the middleman out. That's what we done did. We done believed in cutting the
No,
middleman out
I
in
don't
so
think
many
it's
ways.
about
We have
cutting the
cut
middleman
ourselves
out,
out.
but people understand what it feels like to have things taken from them, repossessed, not to have ownership. That's why so many people work hard to own what
That's
they
why you
have.
lease it.
That's
That's
why
why
they
you
work
lease
so
it when you're
hard,
doing the
because the
job.
game and the
When you're doing
rules
the
can be
job, it
very,
go back
very
to the
different.
people. Then you
But
don't got to
just
worry about
also
the storage.
understand, Meech, when you're talking about rental on some of these equipments, you're talking about anywhere from 350 to thousands and thousands of dollars a day to rent equipment. A lot of people will understand that they
See,
want to try to
that's where
buy
you
it.
scare the people at.
I ain't
That's when
scared
you
of
chase
people.
the
I'm looking
people off at.
directly at the
That's when they drop
information.
their heads and walk away and
No,
say, I can't
Meech.
afford that.
No,
Don't
Meech.
tell the people that
No.
because that's
You
not
know
true.
what I'm doing?
Guess
You
what?
know what
The
I'm
job
doing?
that you
I'm
finna
on a
be on
website
is
right now called Cat
$350,000 job.
Rental. I am on a website right now called Cat Rental. This is
Okay.
major construction where you can rent their, I'm looking at their entire rental inventory. And I see what it costs to rent stuff. So ain't nobody got to scare nobody. Why would I try to scare our people? Why would I do that?
Hold on, listen. You're not doing it awarely. You're not doing it on purpose. You just doing your talk show.
Meech, look, so we're going to tell this to anybody. Go to the same site I'm on, which is called Cat Rentals. You can get an idea of what it costs to rent this equipment. Meech, I'm just telling you, bruh.
Okay, I'm saying you don't have. You can shop that ideal around. You don't have to go to that. You went to Cat.
I'm giving you an idea.
You went to top of the
okay.
line.
So see, this is not productive. This ain't.
You went to Caterpillar.
No, again, this is not productive because what you want to do is anytime somebody counters what you say, you want to pivot the argument. You want to go somewhere else. You said it don't cost a lot to lease it. I'm giving you numbers, so now we got to go somewhere else. Bruh, do you have anything else to add to the conversation, Meech? You got anything else?
I can't hear you.
I said, you got anything else to add?
No, because you got a good argument this morning, and I appreciate you having a dialogue with me this morning, opposed to just butting me out. At least I got a chance to hear what you had to say, and you got a chance to hear what I had to say. But I tell you one thing: if I wanted to rent something, I wouldn't go to Cat necessarily. I would try to find I wouldn't really go to them unless I was really established yet, because they seriously you went straight to the big boys. But anyway, listen, I appreciate you. I'm going to get busy and I'll be listening to you. Okay.
All right. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much for the call. So, let me just say this. First of all, I get so extremely frustrated when particularly a person that's Black offers up arguments that are typically used by white people against Black folks who have not amassed certain things, gotten certain things. And because it's the bootstraps. It's the bootstraps. You can call it construction equipment. You can call it education. You can call it, skilled trades. You can call whatever you want to, but it all comes down to the bootstrap argument. Y'all will take y'all money and go buy a car before you go buy equipment. But if I look around at a lot of the brothers that's in skilled trades, these cats ain't out here flexing and flossing. They trying to figure out how to buy some of the stuff that they need. Somebody texted me or inboxed me on Facebook and said, I bet you Tim Michaels owns his equipment. So the frustration and people not being willing, and that's why diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations are so important. Conversations about bias, implicit, explicit bias are so important because people want to act like we all are starting at the same level on the same playing field, and we're not. Historically, systematically, systemically, Black folks have been disadvantaged intentionally. We're not going to let you into the school. We're not going to let you get into the skilled trades. We're not going to let you have X, Y, and Z. We're not going to give you a fair loan. You got a better chance of getting a loan denial than a loan approval. Your interest rates is ignorant, even though your credit is excellent. And there's data and story after story where you can go. All of the big boys, Chase Bank, US Bank, different banks, Wells Fargo, I meant to say, have come in and had discriminatory practices, particularly targeting black people. And let me remove US Bank because I don't remember the case involving them, but for sure I know Chase and I know Wells Fargo. I know that these car loan companies overtax us on interest rates. Same credit, better credit than white counterparts, but we got a damn 17% car loan, a 9% car loan. But my credit is better than the white dude that was sitting in the other cubicle right next to me making this purchase. Home loans. So this whole, we're going to just wrap it up in a neat bow and say y'all not buying the tools that y'all need to compete. That's just a portion of the conversation. But at least be willing to concede why people may not be in a position to buy the tools. What did I say about the black women and the angel investors? Less than 1% of all angel investment dollars go to black female-owned companies. And you got white boys want to take that from sisters, even though the sisters raise the money for themselves. But you crying. You crying. 80% of all dollars that go to investment companies or the new business startups go to white-owned businesses. But you crying because somebody was trying to do something to help black businesses. Oh, wait, black folks was trying to help themselves, which is what y'all cry about all the time, your damn bootstraps. So we help ourselves and you bring us and haul us into court for helping ourselves. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yo, what's happening, Michelle?
Hey, how you doing today?
Hanging in there.
All right, what's going on?
Well, I would like to say that as a black man in this city, in this racist city that we live in, what we have to do is realize that, unfortunately, diversity and inclusion and equity and things of those nature, words and phrases, they don't mean anything to America. And what black people also need to realize is there's two separate Americas. There is white America and there's black America. And there's two fine lines between the two. And you have puppets of color, like the aldermen. I won't mention any specific ones. And the city attorney, who they recently got rid of, and some of the other puppets they have down there, they stick their arms up their backs and they tell them what to say and what to do and where to go and what lines not to cross. And the moment they cross that line or they reach outside of that box or they look like they're being black people or a Negro or the other N-word, they want to get rid of them. They want to get them out of there. And what black people need to realize is there's two separate agendas here. There's two separate Americas. And the moment that a black person or a person of color is outside of that box, they are marginalized or they're minimalized. But the more we act and we say we're gonna do what the city or the country wants us to do, then we're just fine. But we're not included in America. We are separate residents. We are like pimples on your back. It's something that came with this place. And again, they're going to treat us any old kind of way they want to. And the moment that we step outside of the boundary, they're going to target us.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that perspective. You know, one of the things that I will say is that we better start paying attention. I said this several times before. If you are an organization that has in your name something that's specific to race, ethnicity, color, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, watch corporations stop supporting y'all Freedom Fund dinner. And I'm saying y'all, but I'm a member of the NAACP. Watch that begin to happen. Watch, you got the black child so and so, so and so. Watch companies who have been willing to donate and give money now begin to fall back because um because we don't want to be seen as somebody that's supporting DEI, that's supporting something separate. If it's the childhood development for all children, then I got y'all. But if it's the black child that's we trying to develop, we may not be donating the way we used to. If it is something specific to the Hispanic Latino community, we may not be donating specifically the way we used to. I'm telling people, we are going to even see names of our organizations that depend on, if they depend on outside contributions from major companies and corporations, we're going to begin to see people reevaluating the names of their very organizations, because where your money traditionally would have come from, there may be people falling back on those donations if they think this donation is going to an organization that specifically aids and assists one racial, ethnic, or religious group. This is so much bigger. It's so much bigger. And that's why I'm going to break, but I lose my mind every time I think about when this mess was in front of us in the state capitol and the number of black legislators that were nowhere to be found when we was having this conversation. I'll be right back.
The passing of a loved one is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts Mortuary.
Muhammad stated that we're in that third phase, and the Bible teaches that each unto his own, and that there will be a separation, and we are going to be separated from the slave master's children and our 400-year-old wicked taskmasters. They're never going to look at us as equals because it is so easy for us to turn against one another on the very basis of the tenets of the Willie Lynch theory, which is not a theory. It's a actual situation mentality that we suffer from as a people. And if we were to address that, probably that sickness of self hatred, who taught black people to hate themselves? Who taught black people to look at one another as an enemy? Where did that come from? And how come black people are so readily available in to dismiss one another? That is the Achilles heel with regard to our dysfunction as a people in this country. America does not have anything for us. America does not want us to prosper. America does not want us to be to have continuity as a people. America doesn't want any of that. America wants to, as they are doing, privatizing the penal system, and they're using the music, they're using science to perpetuate a sickness of savagery that we enact and execute on one another. They don't even have to say anything. We are moved by remote control, as far as I'm concerned. Every time we interact with one another on whatever level, there is a plant that is probably there that is going to cause a disturbance just to legitimize the misclassification of us as a people. Everywhere, in anything that we do, when it comes to us assembling as a group, there is someone there who has been sent to disrupt it and to disturb it so that they can say, oh, see, no matter what you do with them niggers, they're never going to be civilized. They're never going to have continuity as a people. They're never going to move forward. So it's so easy for those other people that may have melanin in their skin, but they don't have the mindset of the people that suffered the most on this planet. Everybody's oppression does not equal what has happened to black people. At least the natives, which is part of my bloodline, they fought. They said, we be damned. We're going to die before we serve you. But they've been completely, almost utterly erased from the side of the planet that they naturally inhabited. So I think that if we would spend more time um, teaching our people about our worthiness as a people and stop trying to assimilate and become that which you are not mentally, because those people don't give a damn about you. And I've experienced this my whole life. I never thought it would be as bad as it is, but I'm not walking around here with blinders on and plugs in my ears, and I'm not looking for the good white man to come over the horizon. What we need to do is work our own agenda as a people, and I'll go with this. They talk about Mr. Combs and, but they never said that what he wanted to do was establish a party called the Black Party that would be specifically about black concerns, and that deliberately moved with the intent to aid and assist and move us forward as a people. That's probably one of the main reasons why they don't want to let him out, or they're going to make him seem like he's the whatever they called him. And I'm not gonna bite into or involve myself in any of that, because anytime a black man amasses amount of money, whereas he can impact or affect the trajectory of us as a people, they go right after him. And that it has been the situation, and it will be the situation. But one more thing, what white people know is that this is all that they have. They will not be here 100 years from now, nor will any of us that are speaking right now. So the world will not be under the boot or the mindset of white supremacy. Europe will be decimated. And all of those people are going to be drawn down into the Middle East, and they're going to annihilate one another. All of them, the Chinese, Japanese, every one of them, and everyone who has done black people wrong, they're going to be begging for our forgiveness. That's what they're going to be doing.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Somebody wanted to know, they inboxed me while Christopher was talking about what type of party was Sean Combs trying to start. So back in 2020, Puffy Sean Combs came out and he said that he was interested in starting a new political party that he called Our Black Party. Disappointed with the state of politics as it pertained to Black Americans, the music and TV mogul put his fortune behind a new political platform to empower his community and change the face of American politics. Diddy came under fire over the summer, this is summer of 2020, for telling people to, quote, hold the vote hostage this November. And the bad boy producer began to mobilize Black Americans with Our Black Party, which he announced back in July of 2020, to, quote, own politics with a platform that supports and produces Black politicians. He said in his press release that the number one goal was to unify behind a Black agenda. This is what he said to Charlamagne the God in an interview. Um, During the sit down, Diddy said the country was on the verge of a civil war, so he reluctantly endorsed Joe Biden 2020 to realize our Black Party's 2020 goal, getting President Trump out of office. And he went on to say, if Trump gets elected, I really do believe in my heart there will be a race war. That's why this message is not just to Black people. This message is for everybody. This man is really trying to turn us against each other and put us in this situation. According to our Black Party's official website, the party is FEC registered, a political action committee, recognized. So it was an official party that they did create. And the article, which is actually quite long, is out there. It's available for you. Ever since the Trayvon Martin shooting, Sean Combs, Diddy had become very politically engaged. So whether it was supporting candidates, doing the vote or die campaign back in 2004, which was one of the most successful hip hop campaigns of all times, in terms of trying to reach, marginalized youth, underrepresented voters, people who traditionally would not participate. So the one thing that is kind of interesting, and many people allude to it, is that whenever you see the downfall of a major wealthy African American man, which is typically tied to sex, Bill Cosby sex, Sean Combs sex, or taxes. That was one of the things that I think, went after Michael Baisden on. Somewhere in the background, or in reality, was the conversation that these people were looking to make a change, that they were looking to buy a network, looking to have more political clout, looking to increase Black political power. Like, and that's why, people talk about the fact that when you're trying to make these moves, that you got to be Barack Obama squeaky clean. Like, that's just the reality. The minute you rear your head, because the other part of it is, it's going to be hard to get around whether or not Diddy did do or didn't do some of the things they said that he's incarcerated for right now, or that he's awaiting trial on and all that crap on right now. So that's the thing. And you can be both. You can be a visionary and somebody who wants the best for your people, and have your personal junk in your closet that you're dealing with. The thing is, the more powerful you get and the more realistic your vision becomes, the more you got to protect the junk that's in your closet. And you gotta minimize it before folks can get at you. Let me take a second, since I was on DEI, and talk about what's going on down at MATC. So there is an article in the paper, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Milwaukee Area Technical College's first DEI officer files a discrimination lawsuit. I immediately thought of Flowers Nash, who was working for the city of Milwaukee under, the whole banner of improving, representation of Black folks at the city in these key roles, and he has to file a discrimination lawsuit against the HR department at the city of Milwaukee. The person brought to HR to help Black folks have representation, help people of color, ends up having to file a lawsuit and won against the city of Milwaukee. So Milwaukee Area MATCs, former Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer filed a federal lawsuit against the college this week, alleging that the top university officials retaliated against her for speaking out about discrimination in the workplace. In the complaint and in interviews with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Eva Martinez Paulus, who became the college's first ever DEI officer in 2021, says she felt her efforts to improve the campus climate for employees of color were stifled by her direct manager, Philip King, the executive vice president of student success at MATC. Martinez Paulus alleges that once she began to raise concerns about mistreatment of staff members of color, King began excluding her from critical meetings, micromanaging her work, and treating her in a, quote, unprofessional and inappropriate way. I am one of the many victims of what I believe is a discriminatory culture that has been allowed to perpetuate at MATC, but I cannot stand by and allow it to continue without demanding accountability, Martinez Paulus said. That is why I filed this case. Something must change. In a written statement, MATC spokesperson Daryl Fortune, who is a brother, said the allegations made in Martinez Paulus's lawsuit are, quote, unfounded. We can always find a Negro to come out against other people of color to say they lied. Fortune added that the college cannot comment on personnel matters, but, quote, acknowledges the legitimate findings of an independent investigator hired by the college to look into Martinez Paulus's complaints last year. The investigator did not find evidence to substantiate her claims. Additionally, Fortune noted that a survey taken by MATC employees this year found that 50% of employees thought campus culture had improved since 2022. Well, what did the other 50% find? The technical college, which is one of the state's most, there's that word, diverse higher education institutions, has tried for years, which means that more people of color probably go there than anywhere else, had tried for years to address concerns about the treatment of staff of color. So they know that this has been an issue. The woman ain't just completely making stuff up, that this had been a pattern of behavior. In October, Martinez Paulus was among 12 current and former MATC employees who told the Journal Sentinel that they had witnessed discrimination, harassment, and retaliation against employees of color. Hundreds of pages of records obtained by the news organization detailed allegations of cultural insensitivity, pay equity challenges, barriers to promotion, and verbal intimidation. According to her lawsuit, Martinez Paulus repeatedly raised concerns to King, the Human Resources Department, and then the president of MATC about a Black employee who was denied a disability accommodation. She says she also overheard disparaging comments made about that employee and other Black staff members. In his statement, Fortune said work accommodations can be made when circumstances change or new information comes to light. Generally, it's not our practice that employees in student serving roles are 100% remote, he said. He added, we look forward to having the opportunity to respond through the legal process. The lawsuit claims that MATC failed to address an environment of toxicity and retaliation. Martinez Paulus arrived at MATC to take on the role of Chief DEI Officer in 2021 after a nearly 3-year stint in the same position over at Marquette University. While at MATC, she developed a 5-year diversity, equity, inclusion plan for the college and met with the faculty groups like the African American Network, the Anti-Racism Coalition, and the Latinx United Network Alliance, or LUNA. Many of the initiatives related to the DEI plan were launched in the summer of 2022, including employee affinity groups, anti-bias workshops for all staff. However, Martinez Paulus maintained lingering concerns about mistreatment of people of color on campus. In the first 5 or 6 months when I was there, I met with over 500 employees, and there was a pattern of them expressing a culture of retaliation, a culture of fear, and a culture of mistreatment, particularly for Black and Brown employees, Martinez Paulus said in a September interview with the Journal Sentinel. Martinez Paulus said that when she began raising these concerns among leadership, things started to turn. Oh, sorry, y'all. She said her meetings with King became more frequent and hostile, and members of the executive cabinet, where'd the story go? Regularly called her the name of another Latina administrator in front of others. So she felt like they intentionally, all y'all Mexicans look alike, all y'all Puerto Ricans look alike. So they started calling her another Latina woman's name in front of other people. In October 2023, Martinez Paulus filed a discrimination and harassment complaint against King. 1 week later, King filed a complaint against Martinez Paulus for sexual orientation and age discrimination. Seriously. Independent investigators from a law firm hired by MATC found no evidence substantiating that Martinez Paulus had discriminated against King or vice versa. They did substantiate King's claims that Martinez Paulus was insubordinate and disrespectful towards him, according to her termination letter. She filed a whistleblower complaint with MATC's legal department, accusing King and L. Bonds Jones, the college's chief human resource officer, of harassing an Afro-Latino employee who filed a disability-related work accommodation request. So this thing goes on and on. But it will be interesting to see what ends up happening in relationship to this lawsuit. But the idea that the DEI chief has to end up filing a lawsuit because she feels like she's been discriminated against after elevating the concerns, and then that Daryl Fortune could actually feel good about saying, well, 50% of employees said it was great. Well, what did the other 50% say, Daryl? Like, that was like when Loretta Lynch was working with the law firm and ended up being like the face of the law firm who was trying to go against the the Black NFL players because they weren't being compensated fairly after a career-ending injury. And you got the Black woman, Loretta Lynch, the former AG for Obama, talking about, yeah, that just is not how that happened. Like, and I'm saying this is she my sorority sister. Negro, what is you doing? What? They had an algorithm, fam. Why would you allow yourself to be the face of this? So, Daryl Fortune, do your dance, bruh. Do your dance. 50% said they love it. What did the other 50% say? I gotta go. I can't with you Negroes. I gotta go. Michelle Bryant, say something real, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes difficult, but it's gonna get said. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. To my team, my colleagues, let me say thank you. And Christopher, let me also just say, when I came up with the contest idea, both Jermaine and Debo stepped up to help me put the money together. So I put up 100. Jermaine said I got 50. So Christopher, that was your 50. And Debo said I got 25. And that was the other winner. So I just want to let you know that was a team effort. All right, family, I got to get out the way. Thank you, Ride Out. Thank you, Carvey. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
We're like soldiers in a revolution. To our word, no solution.
It's now time to take you live to the Northwest Funeral Chapel for a word of the good news and your Sunday school lesson with Brother J.C. Frazier. Brother Frazier, how do you feel this